Joe Hopkins here, and today I just want to give a nice little list. Six of my personal favorite Mexican rock bands. That's right. Hey man, I'm not going to mention maybe your favorite. If there's ones that you particularly think are awesome that I didn't mention them in the comments below. But if you want to get into listening to some Mexican rock, these are some good ones to start with, to listen to. And they're in no particular order, okay? Orders are for chumps. That's right, because I can't say which of these I like better than the others. These are just my six favorites. You know? My favorites. That's what I'm saying. And just so you know, there are other Spanish language rock bands that would be on this list if they were from Mexico, but they're not. You know, I like a lot of Spanish music. I like a lot of Spanish rock music, but there are quite a few Spanish countries out there. So anyway, let's go over this. First of all, one of my favorite bands that's out now, one of my favorite of all time, really, and apparently a lot of your guys' favorite too, The Warning.
The aching in my bones is taking over, tell me why.
So, honestly, I absolutely love this band, and they are directly from Mexico. It's the Villarreal sisters from Monterrey, Mexico. Great band, absolutely amazing band. I go out of my way to see them whenever they're around. They are one of my favorites, have been for a couple years now. I first heard of them on their Error album, which is an amazing album. All their albums are great. But yeah, I first heard of them when Error came out, and I really, really got into them. They are absolutely amazing. Now, most of their songs are in English, for the most part, with some songs in Spanish, and they are just one of the best bands out there, in my opinion. My personal, humble opinion. I've seen them live twice. Went out of my way to see their live movie, and it's just great every time. They are incredibly talented. Now, they don't do anything particularly progressive. Their songs are, for the most part, pretty straightforward, but they're such excellent songs, you know, and they perform them so well. These girls, they are very, very good at doing what they do. They sound great. They look good too, which never hurts. I mean, people should judge you by your music more than your looks, but we know the truth of the matter. When you look good, you go further. Talent takes you so far. If you're talented and you look good, you go further. And there you go. They got the whole package. So most of you guys know about The Warning. I've done videos on them before, and you guys blow up my comments every time. So, hell yeah, blow up my comments about The Warning. Is that your favorite? Which of these bands is your favorite? You know, tell me. And I got a sneaking suspicion The Warning will be y'all's favorite. But I digress. Let's move on a little bit. Another Mexican rock band that personally I love, and I had the opportunity to see them live recently, which was awesome, is Maná. And if you haven't heard Maná, check them out, right? My favorite album of theirs is probably Sueños Líquidos. Or the one that came out right before that. I forget the name of it, but the one that came out right before that one I loved as well. I love their stuff from the 90s, you know. And they did an album, I think it was right after Sueños Líquidos, with Carlos Santana, that was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Great album. Everything Santana does is pretty much awesome. But Maná is such a good band. They write such amazing songs. And to work with Santana, that was an absolutely stunning album. It's worth listening to. It's worth checking out. They do sing pretty much all in Spanish. You don't get any English. But all right, let's be honest here. Most of the songs are about love and getting it on. It's rock and roll. You know what I mean? A lot of that kind of stuff. You can find translation of the lyrics places if you want to know what they're saying and you don't speak Espanol, right? I don't speak Espanol that well myself, but great band, great songs, great melodies, very well put together. These guys are amazing musicians. And they do such a good job, honestly. And it's funny when you talk about bands that sing in Spanish. I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, I want to understand what they're saying. I want to know what they're saying." And these are people that, for the most part, when songs are in English, all they know is the chorus. So I don't get that. The songs are good though. The melodies are good. You listen to it, it's groovy, and the guitar work is great. The musicianship is amazing, and if you ever get a chance to see them live, I'd recommend it. These guys are top-notch performers, absolutely amazing. But that's my opinion. They are definitely one of my favorites. Now, the next one is also another Mexican rock band from the 90s. My wife introduced me to this 90s Mexican rock when I met her, when we were dating, and I really loved it. And this is another band she introduced me to, and that's Café Tacuba. If y'all haven't heard them, give them a listen. And don't just listen to one song. You might listen to one song and go, I don't really like this. Not listen to a couple of songs, because all their songs are very, very different. They're a rather progressive band. They play with different sounds. And I love the fact that they work a lot of traditional type music into what they do, a lot of the more traditional Mexican music, they work it into that kind of thing. Kind of like up in America, we have that sort of country rock thing, you know what I mean? A lot of bands are kind of rock, kind of folk, we're working that more traditional folky sound into our music. Well, this is the Mexican version of that. And I really like traditional Mexican music, traditional Spanish music. I like a lot of it. I like the vibe of it. You know what I mean? It's got a rather interesting sound to it, and I like that they work that in a lot. And these guys are such good musicians. It's worth checking out. They did what is it on YouTube? That little tiny desk concerts. NPR's Tiny Desk Concerts. Well, they did one. It's on YouTube. It's worth checking out. These guys are such great musicians. They're a band I would love to see live, except they don't tour up this way a whole lot up where I am. I'm all the way up in West Virginia. They don't tour up this way a lot. And when they do, they hit bigger cities like Chicago and whatnot. I'm hoping eventually they hit like Baltimore or Pittsburgh or DC or something, and I'll get to go see them. But what can you do? If they don't come up here, I don't get to see them. They have toured up this way a time or two, and I missed out. I missed it. But yeah, they're a band worth checking out, Café Tacuba. Like I said, if you do check them out, don't just listen to one song. All their stuff is so different. They're all over the place with sounds. They seem to like to play with sound and different tones, different musical qualities. They really are quite progressive like that. And I appreciate that. I like it. I like not knowing what's coming next and being surprised by what I hear. That's something I enjoy, and they certainly dish that out. So let's see, the next one. What should I put up next? Where am I? That's three. So I need a fourth one. The Mars Volta. And yes, I know they're not from Mexico, but they are Mexican, and the Southwest U.S. is technically still Mexico. Just ask La Raza. They'll tell you, yeah, if a bunch of Mexicans live there and it was originally Mexico, then as far as they're concerned, it's still Mexico. Plus, the Mars Volta is so unapologetically Mexican. They fly the Mexican flag at their concerts. So, the Mars Volta, it's pretty much two guys. What is it, that Omar and Cedric? I forget their last names. The whole rest of the band has been kind of a rotating kind of thing. A lot of different members. I really like their early stuff, like the album Francis the Mute. And I can't remember. It's the one with that head on the plate that's like, and the light coming out of it. I forget the name of the album now. It just slips my mind. Things slip my mind more as I get older. But the Mars Volta is worth checking out. Most people have heard their song The Widow, which was their big hit, which is a great song. Personally, I really love the song La Via. It's kind of like some in Spanish, some in English. You know, the verses are in Spanish, the chorus is in English, that kind of thing. Really badass tune. They're another very, very progressive band. And I mean, unapologetically over the top progressive. You never know what's coming next. And they play with sound a lot. You don't know if you're getting something that's a total jumble of sounds or if you're getting like a solid straight rock song. But even like the solid rock songs get weird at parts. A lot of really long songs too. So it's not everybody's taste. It's not everybody's flavor. Personally, I love them. I love the vibe they give out. Once again, I really love progressive music. Not everybody does. I like not knowing what's coming next. I like not really knowing what kind of sounds are coming down the pike. You know what I mean? That's kind of cool to me. And I like music that's interesting. And they're certainly that. They're even more so than Cafe Tacuba. As progressive as Cafe Tacuba is, the Mars Volta is even like more so. Definitely progressive rock. And I dig the hell out of it. You know, that's a band worth checking out. So let's see who would be next. I'd say once again, not all the members are from Mexico, but Los Lobos. I include them as Mexican rock because, well, they're Mexicans and they play rock, and they're one of the best jam bands of all time. I mean, right up there with Fish and the Grateful Dead and the Allman Brothers Band. Los Lobos is an amazing jam band, and they have such good songs. I mean, such good songs. Some of my favorites aren't really the radio hits. I know they did that version of La Bamba for the what was it, that movie about Richie Valens, and everybody's heard their version of La Bamba. But dude, I love the song the Saint Behind the Glass. That is such a good song. And they did a version of I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book. You know? I want to be just like you. I want to be like you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know that one. That is, who sang that in the Jungle Book? It was that the ape, King Louie. Yeah, I know. A little bit racist, make Louis an ape, you know, but that was the time period. But the song is awesome, great song, and Los Lobos did such a good version of it. It's not like a lot of people cover that song. They are such a good band. I think they did a Tiny Desk concert too, which is also worth checking out. Los Lobos, they're such good musicians. They're the kind of band you want to see. You want to watch what they're doing. They're so good. They're so talented. The songs are so good and catchy. And they also get a little progressive at times. A lot of bands do. If you're a really good musician, you want to stretch a little bit. Stretch your wings, fly some. So you end up being a bit progressive. The best musicians tend to do more progressive things a lot of times. And Los Lobos is one of those bands. Not as progressive as the last two I mentioned, but they're up there. They're up there. And they're worth checking out. So if you haven't heard of them, then I'm wondering what kind of rock you've been laying under, or maybe you're just, you know, younger than me. I don't know. The kids these days, under 30, maybe you haven't heard of Los Lobos, but check them out. And last, but certainly not least, is Santana. not just Carlos Santana, the band Santana, the band from the 60s, Santana, their first couple albums. And yeah, I know not all the members. There was different members came and went, and some of them were Latino and some of them weren't. Carlos Santana, though, is awesome. And I really like his later stuff, his, the stuff he did in the 90s and 2000s and all that kind of stuff. But those first couple albums, Santana, Abraxas, those were such good albums. They were so awesome. Oye, como va mi ritmo. I love Santana. And that definitely counts as Mexican rock. Santana's Mexican, damn it. That counts. I know, he's from San Francisco. You don't even bother in the comments telling me that he's from California. It's California. All right, that was part of Mexico once, and Carlos Santana is Mexican. And awesome band. I had a copy of Abraxas, or my dad did, on cassette tape. I made a copy on a cassette tape. Copied it, and I played that thing until it fell apart. That is such a good album. Such a good album. And that's the one everybody thinks of. That's probably their best album, in my opinion, and a lot of other people feel that way too. Got a Black Magic Woman. They did some covers on there, that kind of stuff. But Abraxas is such a good album. And the musicianship is so amazing. It's that very Latin rock sound. A lot of percussion, a lot of, it's amazing. The musicianship is over the top great. They were definitely one of the great rock bands of the 60s. And a lot of people, when they talk about the bands of the 60s, they forget about Santana for some reason. Unfortunately, Santana did prove something true that I've said before. If you don't die like Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison and Janis Joplin and whatnot, if you keep living, you eventually have a crappy album and your career tanks for a little bit. And Santana's did. It really did. He got in this weird jazz stuff, and I don't know. But I mean, hey, what can I say? Neil Schon was in his band, not during the best of their years, but he got Neil Schon for a little while. That's awesome. But yeah, Santana, definitely a excellent band. That's one another one I'd love to see live. I don't know if they're playing. You can't see everybody. You know what I mean? I try. You can't catch every show that comes around. So there we go. There's 6 of my favorite Mexican rock bands. And go down that list. Check them out. If you haven't heard of some of them, check them out. They're worth checking out. And plus, hey, check out me. I do music too. Here at the end, there's a playlist. It says Talking Dogs. That's my new album. You can just hit the playlist, watch it on YouTube, listen to the music. Or I got links to... got links to streaming down below. Oh, it tastes like sauerkraut. I just had some hot dogs. It's like, alrighty. So anyway, there we have it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, man? I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.